It's become increasingly apparent to people watching my podcast, but in general, intelligent people following the debate, that the massively overheated rhetoric over January 6th, it's an insurrection, it's a terrorist attack, it's a coup. First of all, think about what a coup means. A coup is, in fact, a planned, organized effort, usually involving the military, although not necessarily, to overthrow the government and take over. Now, let's match that up with January 6th. Here you have a bunch of guys, sort of like campus protesters, who push their way in, they walk into hallways, they take selfies with podiums, and they show off their feathers and their animal horns, and then a couple of hours later, they voluntarily leave. What kind of a coup is that? That's not what Pinochet did in Chile. It's not a coup. Everybody knows it's not a coup. And yet you have a continuing spate of absurdities coming out from the left. Here's Biden, it's the worst attack since the Civil War. Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, compares it to the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing. Nonsense. And then Don Lemon, never to be outdone. We're talking about Don Lemon, I think winner of the Stupidity Award at CNN last year and the year before, narrowly edged out by Rachel Maddow the year before. But here's Don Lemon basically saying that it wasn't just a coup, it wasn't just an insurrection, it was actually a war. Listen.
I spoke with a Republican lawmaker last night, and he told me during the commercial break, he said, listen, I fought in the war, Denver-Riggleman. He said, I went to war. And he said, but the difference is that I didn't have people denying the realities of war or denying my experience. And what happened at the Capitol was nothing less than war. As I said, hand-to-hand combat. And to have people deny that is just disgusting.
First of all, you can be fairly sure that this conversation with the Republican man who went to war never happened. This is ventriloquist journalism, Don Lemon style. But look, I mean, we all know what a war is. The Civil War, 600,000 casualties. World War II, the Vietnam War, huge numbers of people dead. Let's start with that. If this was a war, how many people were killed? Answer 1. A Trumpster, Ashley Babbitt, killed by a black Capitol Hill police officer. And that's it. They tried for a while to make it 2, Brian Sicknick, but even 2 doesn't really seem to comport with the rhetoric of war. And so what you have here is not only rhetorical inflation, but rhetorical debasement. Now, the eerie part of this is the premise on which the Biden administration is prosecuting these January 6th protesters. And they keep making all these kinds of incendiary allegations about them. And here's my question. Where's the videotape? Because every part of what happens in the Capitol, inside and outside, is videotaped. And the simple fact of the matter is the government has the videotape. It's actually, it's 14,000 hours of videotape. But you know what? They refuse to show it. The only footage that we've seen, by and large, of what happened on January 6th comes from reporters. Some of it came, for example, from a New Yorker journalist. The House impeachment manager selectively used footage to try to make their points. Look at this guy yelling over there. Look at that guy pushing over here. But the whole videotape, where is it? The government has it. They claim, and this is how preposterous they are. They say, we can't provide the footage. Why? Quote, our concern is that providing unfettered access to hours of extremely sensitive information, to defendants who have already shown a desire to interfere with the democratic process will be passed on to those who might wish to attack the Capitol again. So they don't even want to provide the footage to defendants, because the defendants can then say, look at the context. That's not what this means. You're showing people edited, doctored footage. They have the footage, they won't show it. Now, we now know kind of why they won't show it. The website American Greatness, and this is the work of the intrepid journalist Julie Kelly, has uncovered a small piece of videotape, which I'm about to show you. And this gives you a pretty good idea of why the US government, the Biden administration, is suppressing the footage. Listen.
Everybody, listen up. The police here are willing to work with us and cooperate peacefully, like our First Amendment allows. Gather more Americans under the condition that they will come and gather peacefully to discuss what needs to be done to save our country. are going to be heard. Everybody, this must be peaceful.
This has to be peaceful. We have the right to peacefully assemble.
Now, a couple of things are critical about this. First of all, that's the Q shaman guy. That's the guy with the horns that you're seeing. That's Jacob Chansley. And what does he emphasize from beginning to the end? We have to be peaceful. He's very emphatic about this point. And then, very interestingly, he engages in a conversation with Officer Keith Robichaud, who says on the tape to Chansley, he goes, we're not against, I'm quoting him now, you need to show us no attacking, no assault, remain calm. Basically, the police officer is giving these guys permission to go in as long as, it's a conditional permission, as long as there's no attacking, no assault, remain calm, stay peaceful. So what you have here, very tellingly, is an engagement, and a peaceful engagement, not hand-to-hand combat in Don Lemon's fevered imagination, but rather a discussion in which the cop basically goes, okay, but make sure that you guys behave yourself. So think of how powerful this evidence is in dispelling all this nonsense about a coup, nonsense about an insurrection. These are people who are trying to make their voices heard. They're trying to conduct a demonstration, a peaceful demonstration. The cops know that, and the cops are, in a sense, collaborating with them in making sure it stays peaceful. It is this truth of January 6th that the left is desperately trying to suppress, the Biden administration is desperately trying to suppress in its wicked and irresponsible witch hunt against its political opponents.